Push. The commander completely ignored the threat posed by Ukrainian drones and insisted on ordering troops to garrison this place was a mistake that aligned with the enemy. A wrong decision left his soldiers completely bewildered. The cover became a sitting duck for drones. In this episode, we will see footage of the Ukrainian army's diverse drone-based frontline tactics in actual combat. This is a grey buffer zone in the Russia-Ukraine standoff. A clash between humans and machines is about to erupt. A Ukrainian army unmanned ground vehicle equipped with a complete combat system is operating without human intervention. Under the cover of coordinated fire, they quietly open fire towards the Russian positions. Enter. The vehicle, fully loaded with TM6 to anti-tank mines, was planned to secretly infiltrate the enemy's defenses. A deadly surprise attack was launched against the Russian army when no one was around. The accident happened suddenly, just as the car crossed the bridge. Roadside grass. A three-man Russian commando team was advancing covertly. Both sides were preparing to ambush the Ukrainian army, and the scene was instantly filled with anticipation of a surprise attack. Became extremely nervous. Upon seeing this, the Ukrainian drone operator immediately remotely commanded the ground robot to retreat, to avoid revealing their whereabouts to the Russian military. With this, at the same time, the Russian military squad also stopped and crawled into the grass. Kong seemed to have noticed the Ukrainian ground robots on the highway. Ukrainian operators quickly maneuvered the unmanned vehicle back and forth to probe and assess the situation. Have you already sensed the danger? Fortunately, the angle of view, limited by terrain and concealed by bushes, the Russian troops did not notice the robot on the road hiding in the bushes. Only, it is convenient on the spot. The squad, without aerial drone cover, then continued its advance unprepared. It's difficult. Imagine the distance between the two is only a few meters. The US and Russian forces were completely unaware of the deadly danger that was looming ahead. The two groups passed each other as Ukrainian ground robots quietly drove out of the roadside bushes. Also, just then, the Russian soldier at the back of the column suddenly stopped and turned around. Everyone thought their whereabouts had been exposed, but it turned out to be just a false alarm. He simply bent down to pick up his belongings that had fallen to the ground, even though no one was there to help him. The Russian soldier standing face to face with him remained completely unaware, waiting for this. A soldier quickly. The operator immediately increased the robot's speed to the maximum to catch up with the teammate ahead. They gave chase and drew their attention the moment they got close to the Russian squad. Vehicle-mounted anti-tank mine exploded. However, the military operators, already cunning strategists, skillfully controlled ground robots to directly attack the nuclear island. The explosion point was too far from the Russian squad to be completed in one shot. Two more enemies were wiped out. The Russian soldiers were unharmed. These two did not. There was an immediate evacuation, which was probably a mistake. For the sake of one's own teammates, instead of detonating the landmine, he simply took cover under the bridge pier to rest. Within minutes, the military immediately dispatched another FPV drone to the scene. The gate launched a precision strike against the two soldiers under Georgetown. Without any mishaps, the drone crashed straight into the two men's hiding place, successfully annihilating them. Another three-man Russian military team planned to cross. Advancing across the open plains towards the settlement could be as high as countless encounters. Air reconnaissance drones were locked in early. Their location was pinpointed, and FPV suicide drones were then deployed to hunt them down. Flat. The continuous drone fire soon filled the sky above the plane. A series of buzzing explosions ripped through the air, ignoring the Russian soldiers, stopping the gun and launching an anti-air counterattack. Ultimately, they failed to shoot down the lazy drone. Many members of the squad sustained injuries of varying degrees. Two Russian soldiers who survived took refuge in the woods and leaned against tree roots to count their belongings. Simple preparation for wound treatment. After the single bandage, it is also prepared to continue. They continued to move forward, completely unaware. Every move I made was exposed to the drone's telephoto lens without much. The FPV drone flew straight to the two men's hiding place and launched an attack. exhausted. Only by going with. After starting the vehicle and retreating on foot, the entire area was completely exposed with no cover whatsoever. Under the constant surveillance of the drone's god's eye view, he was relentlessly pursued until he was completely exhausted. There were only 2 branches in front of him. The only way is to lay down your weapons, surrender, or you will face final annihilation. Just as the drones were completely eliminating the Russian commando unit, Ukrainian ground forces launched an attack. High-altitude panoramic guidance based on reconnaissance drones. Samurai, the soldiers precisely located the remaining Russian troops hiding in the bushes along the route. The military launched a thorough sweep and investigation. Faced with a comprehensive encirclement and suppression, a Russian soldier with nowhere to escape and no way out completely, giving up resistance and surrendering to the Ukrainian army. An abandoned house in the settlement became a temporary stronghold for the Ukrainian army. The Ukrainian military command at the outpost decided to destroy it. For this kind of local, it is precisely clear that the military is still employing a strategy of long-range drone attacks in the air. Guided by a Chinese reconnaissance aircraft, drones costing a few $1,000s each can complete the mission. Service. The buzzing of drones could be heard in my ears. The roar of Russia. The soldiers panicked instantly. They abandoned the house where they were hiding and rushed to. The open road with no cover actually gave people no. The human operator created an excellent opportunity for attack. A violent explosion suddenly rang out, and a Russian soldier. The horrific scene of soldiers being blown to the ground on the spot ended. Fully exposed, the overwhelming visual impact on another comrade instantly shattered his psychological defenses. In a panic, he hurriedly returned to the house where he had originally been hiding to take refuge. The house had all its doors and windows wide open, with no one around. The machine can easily penetrate the building to carry out strikes. The bombings came one after another, and the sound of explosions was deafening. One round after another rises and falls. A series of precise strikes continued to hit the walls of the house. The roof collapsed and cracked until the entire building. The neighbor was completely destroyed. Everyone can see clearly. The entire house had already been blown to rubble, but the operator ... They did not stop there, but continued to control the drone to repeatedly crash into the basement entrance. Even if the main building collapses completely, we will never overlook any blind spot where people might hide. Completely eliminate any remaining dangers to prevent the enemy from hiding underground and launching a counterattack. The military command used reconnaissance drones to conduct real-time aerial surveys. The settlements occupied by Russian troops were under constant surveillance. Internal enemy movements. High-level plans. Relying on aerial drone firepower to strike various Russian defensive bunkers and completely annihilate the station personnel. Expel the Russians from this settlement. Reconnaissance drones continue. The operator scans the entire area and locks each lock one by one, marking Russian military outposts, trenches, and concealed fortifications. Or implement intelligence. Step back to command post combat personnel. Based on the completed location information, the team finalized a complete air raid plan. The Ukrainian forces employed coordinated tactics in this offensive. Combat tactics combined with Babayaga heavy NONG. Combined operations of manned aircraft and FPV assassination drones. The entire process was guided by reconnaissance drones, eliminating the need for close-range advances by ground troops. Complete all strike missions remotely. Babayaga is a heavy multi-rotor bomber exclusively used by the Ukrainian army. Human-machine interface can be mounted simultaneously. High-explosive munitions, such as exhaust shells, anti-tank mines, thermobaric incendiary bombs, etc. The body is equipped with infrared thermal imaging equipment, can accurately detect objects hidden in houses, trenches, and underground, day and night. The Russian troops inside ignored the makeshift bunkers, providing cover. Russian troops on the front lines. In my eyes, this drone is a persistent nightmare. Ordinary bunkers and low-lying fortifications are practically useless against his firepower. Once he locks onto them, they are almost useless. No escape space. Many Russian soldiers panicked upon hearing the buzzing of his rotors. It is regarded as the most feared aerial weapon on the battlefield. The first offensive has officially begun, with heavy drones from Babayaga taking turns to attack. Hovering over Russian military outposts, modified mortar shells were dropped from the sky one after another. The shells struck the neighboring Russian troops, who were hiding with precision, causing a violent clash. The explosion, with its immense force, instantly ripped off the roof and tore apart the walls. Under the relentless barrage of ammunition, the entire building collapsed layer by layer until it was completely destroyed. The bottom was razed to the ground and became a wasteland. The Russian soldiers who survived were in a panic. They scattered and fled from the collapsed building, rushing swarming into the more secure basements for refuge. Vertically dive-launched artillery shells are difficult to completely destroy. Underground fortifications are difficult to completely eliminate hidden dangers. At this moment, the Ukrainian FPV drones immediately launched a second wave of attacks with precise control by the operators. Controlled aircraft to drill into narrow. The basement entrance is straight. The bombs detonated, completely collapsing and sealing off the entire basement. There is an escape space. The Russian troops stationed in another house were also in dire straits. The continuous bombing had already destroyed the entire building. Dilapidated. There was no longer any way to provide any cover. Soldiers. They could only hastily evacuate and search everywhere, looking for new hiding places. No matter which house they hid in, the military's drone offensive always kept up. And arrive. They had just entered the building and hadn't even had time to. With precise strikes, poison gas descended, walls shattered, roofs collapsed, and temporary shelters were erected. In an instant, reduced to ruins, the Russian army could only endlessly flee and retreat. Replacement of the collection. The location can never escape the air. The relentless pursuit kept them firmly under control, leaving them with no safe place to settle down. With nowhere to escape amidst the gaps in the courtyard, the Russian soldiers, they abandoned the broken ground. The entire crew scrambled to escape to underground bunkers in various buildings to survive. In an instant, every basement in the settlement was crammed with Russian soldiers seeking refuge from the bombing. People pinned their hopes on being buried deep underground. The fortifications beneath the surface could withstand aerial attacks from drones. Fortunately, escaping a calamity, the Ukrainian army quickly switched to its own unique attack tactics. A special operation was launched to clear out densely packed underground bunkers. First, a heavy drone from Babayaga carried out a high-altitude bombing attack on the area above the basement entrance, building structure. Repeated bombing loosened the walls of the bunkers and blocked escape routes. Following closely behind was the FPV drone, which precisely finished off enemies with its small size. Small and agile machine. He precisely slipped through the narrow basement entrance and went straight into the underground bunker. A violent explosion detonated in the confined underground space, causing devastation. The number of solid underground workshops that had been sealed off by the Russian army increased exponentially. The basement of Houshing Road was completely becoming a death trap with nowhere to escape. in this a highly efficient drone strike system with low-profile, layered attacks. The entire Russian defense perimeter of the settlement completely collapsed, and the entire operation was utterly destroyed. The system was completely torn apart, losing offensive momentum and losing support from teammates. Having lost command and communication, the remaining soldiers were completely isolated and helpless, and could no longer. Organizing any effective resistance can only be done by individual efforts. They scattered and fled in panic, desperate for a chance to survive. Abandoned. The formation was abandoned, tactics were disregarded, and the soldiers were only concerned with running around in disarray between ruins and open spaces, leading to a turning point in the battlefield. The situation completely reversed, and the military gained absolute initiative. The devastation and ruins can be clearly seen from the aerial perspective of a drone. Many Russian troops. The soldiers had long since lost all hope. Having lost the will to fight, he simply discarded his weapon and fled wildly with nothing but his bare hands. Faced with all around, no blind spot aerial hunting, weapons were no match for him. They provide protection against losing equipment. Prepare to fight desperately. Fleeing became the last desperate choice for the remaining soldiers. Ukrainian drone teams waiting in the outer airspace. Synchronous deployment of resistance. A precise shot intercepted a Russian military convoy that was coming to provide support. The drone's high-speed dive and collision with a Russian military vehicle completely destroyed it. Loss of maneuverability. All escapees can be detected by drones under 24/7 surveillance. Running away and hiding are both futile. The low-altitude drones skillfully evaded Russian soldiers. The ordinary rifles in the soldiers' hands have limited range and insufficient accuracy. This cannot effectively lock low-altitude altitudes. The fast-moving drones completed their air counterattack. The overall effect was minimal, and the vehicles were lost. Reinforcements without air defenses and nowhere to hide. Soldiers have become sitting ducks for aerial drones. The entire reinforcement force was completely wiped out by the precise hunting down of the soldiers one by one. Bottom collapse. Unable to form a battlefield against settlements. Any support. Number. Stop the frontline battlefield and the perimeter of the stronghold. Russian positions are also deeply mired in the inferno of precision drone strikes. Faced with the barrage of air-launched grenades raining down from the sky, the Russian ground forces had no effective response. The only countermeasures are sitting back and forth between trenches and bunkers. Shuttle fled in a sorry state. They desperately tried to evade the relentless aerial bombardment. This one-way, overwhelming, dimensional reduction attack completely disrupted Russian army's defensive rhythm. The enemy's traditional ground defense system, built using fortifications, is ineffective. Human machine all-weather, no blind spots. In the face of the hunt, it was practically useless. The Russian army was on the defensive and exhausted, unable to lock down the enemy. Even launching a counterattack against fixed aerial targets cannot solidify the position and hold the defense. The line was completely suppressed throughout, with no ability to resist or retaliate. This one-sided drone attack and defense battle perfectly illustrates the current situation. The brutal changes of the war. Traditional positional defense. Infantry defense tactics in intelligent systems. Aerial hunt. The complete loss of advantages in low-cost drone swarm warfare has reshaped the frontline battlefield. The winning and losing pattern. If you enjoy real battlefield and timely analysis of cutting-edge tactics, don't forget to like and share. Subscribe. Continuously follow the latest battlefield situation to help you understand the current situation. A brand new way to fight modern warfare.